Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nick. Welcome to Nick video tutorials. Today we will discuss a little bit about Cosmos DB on your computer. In general, everybody knows Cosmos DB, Azure Cosmos DB, it's in Azure. Azure means cloud. So in this case, Cosmos DB is that part of databases, no SQL databases, simply query language, non-relational databases. That standard structure of databases, like an SQL server having tables and stuff like that, is different. So Cosmos DB store data into a database, but in a different structure. Okay, good. That's why it's NoSQL. Okay, Cosmos DB can be also on your computer stored. If you are a developer, entry level, middle level, and you have a project and you want to develop your project, you can test everything, debug and test everything locally. So Cosmos DB Emulator can be implemented on your computer, and Cosmos DB Emulator can be equivalent of Docker Desktop. When you have Docker Desktop, if you use .NET Core, for example, ASP.NET Core with applications, web services, who goes that web services into a container, so that container is different containers in Docker, and Docker have some orchestrator named Kubernetes. Good. All this can be local. So also Cosmos DB can be local. We have here, I will show you Cosmos DB, and if in SQL server we have databases, also here we have databases, but here a database is a category of multiple containers inside of a database. So equivalent of tables from SQL is containers, and items in containers are basically the records from tables from databases in SQL. Woo, I think it's clear, right? Okay, good. So we can test this also manually, and also we can test it programmatically. So that's why we need a dashboard from Cosmos DB Emulator, Cosmos Emulator. It's very easy to install that emulator. Just download, go on Bing or on Google and go there and say Cosmos DB Emulator, download. You will have it download on your computer and run. Double click, run on that. It's an MSI extension, so it's a setup. Okay, install it is very easy to install. Just double click, run it. There have next, finish, done. Basically, you don't need to set nothing, some settings or something. Just double click, run it. Next, you will see a progress bar going there. So basically, everything will be installed on your computer. And after that, finish, and that's it. Okay. After that, automatically will start, or you can start it manually if you want. And have a web interface. Basically, the dashboard is web interface into a browser. Okay, but let's start a little bit with the beginning part. What is the beginning part? Beginning part is this. What's NoSQL? Thank you, Wikipedia, for that. And I want to use public free data from the internet, because I want everybody after that, if they want to try to use that, to see that, to have the opportunity to go there and check that information, or download and install and use what I will do here. Everybody can do it home. Okay, so in this case, NoSQL, originally referring to non-SQL or non-relational database, because SQL, simply query language, actually it's a database, a relational database, and SQL server is the server who manage all that. Okay, provides a mechanism for storage and retrieval of data that is modeled in means other than the tabular relations used in relational databases. That's the difference. I told you, tables, it's container items, records from tables are items and so on, and basically multiple containers are into a database. And the database is not a database, there's a structure dedicated for, managed by a server of databases, SQL like SQL Server. It's just a group of items who's put it into a group, multiple containers, so that group of containers is into a database. And let's see what is the differences. SQL versus NoSQL, also from internet. SQL versus NoSQL, product, price, and so on, the same. Can you see here it's a database, we have the tables and we have the records. Here we have a database, we have containers, and inside of containers we have items. That's the difference, okay? Good, so we saw this, now we see this. Wow, what's this? This basically it's the dashboard. This is the interface. This is the interface for Azure Cosmos DB Emulator. You can see here it's HTTPS, basically having a certification of that. So HTTPS, localhost means on my local computer with port 8081 in my case, probably the same in your case. And of course an Explorer index HTML because we are in Explorer. In Quick Start it's easy, you will see your general settings like path for your local DB emulator, like key, some security, you know. That's why I don't want to show you that. You can discover by yourself. Everybody have that security part there. And there you can see, you will see some buttons with some sample data in .NET Core, Java, and so on. Okay, so what we have here, we have a dashboard. We can start to create databases and containers in databases and items and so on manually. It's not necessary to use C# as a programming language for the moment, and Visual Studio and stuff like that. You can do it manually. If you're not a .NET developer, you're just a system administrator, DevOps, because it's DevOps engineer, okay, for cloud, you can do it manually. What is the difference between new container and new database? If you create a new container, means you create a database with just one containers and some items inside. And that's it, that's a container, new container, just one container. If you don't have a database, if you have a database, just add a new container in that database. What's new database? You create another new, fresh database, okay, with one container or multiple containers. This is the differences, okay? A new SQL query, you know, if you are a .NET developer and you had some web development in the past, you must know you can do it also from Visual Studio, and you need to do some queries, you know, because in SQL you can't do like an access file. Access in Office is just simple, put there and done, it's a file. No big security, no server or something to manage that, okay? In SQL part, you have a server who manages that. Basically, you ask the server, please do that for me, and the server will do that for you. The same thing here, but here, that asks are like tasks. A task, you know. You launch a task in cloud, because it's serverless. You launch a task, and the cloud will do it for you, and will have a result. Okay? So, this is new SQL query. Open query, of course, if you have a query already, open and edit the query. Story procedure, you know, the same. Will be simply query language, will be SQL here. So in this case, we will have store, proc, exec, and so on, exactly like in SQL. Okay, good. So what's here? Let's create a database. Database. First, we have database 1. Okay, provision and everything, auto scale and manual. That's for DevOps engineers. You know, if you want to put auto scale automatically to be scaled because it's cloud, can be scaled, okay? Or manual, and you put estimation part what you want. in case of you really know what you want to do and you really know details of settings, you put manual. If you don't know, you put automatic, and in this case you will let Cosmos DB Emulator to estimate for you. Okay, good. In my case, manual 400 minimum, and I'm not interested too much about that part right now. So create a database, and we have SQL API. Basically here you will see from what is in Azure Cosmos DB, even if it's emulator on your computer, even if it's in Cosmos DB in Azure in cloud, you have APIs, you work with APIs, okay? You work with this type of RESTful, you work with an API. You can't do nothing, and everything is in JSON as a result. So we have here a database, and we can create a container inside, delete database and so on, because we have just scale of the database. Can you see? We don't have a container. We can create a container in our database, and container can be container1. And let's say a partition key. This partition key is the critical key for partitioning in cloud. Okay, I don't know, let's put address zip code. Okay, like they said, when you create your database and have an idea what's going on, you can put there a partition key, like for example address and city, and and in that moment and so on. Okay, good. And we have container. Perfect, we have container and items, but I don't have items because for the moment it's empty, and to create an item, just new SQL query, and here you put something. Can you see? It's just a simple query language SQL. Okay, this is the strategy of and settings for that. Okay, so perfect. What we need, let's create another container. Let's say container number 2, container the second one, and the same address zip code. Okay, good. And it's created. Container number 2 is the same thing. This is in Azure Cosmos DB. Good, perfect. What we need now? Well, we need to use also, let's delete the container. It's just to put the name of container as a confirmation, container 2 as a confirmation, and delete container 2, delete container 1. Basically this confirmation comes directly from the dashboard, and what is that tools dedicated in Azure. When you go in Azure dashboard, there in cloud, you have that. You will have that long keys and a lot of other stuff who's specially dedicated for cloud. You will see it in cloud, you can't see it in web in the past, So confirm, it's container 1 first. You can put something here if you want. Why you do that? And also we will delete the database. And database is database 1. We will delete the database, and everything gets deleted. Can you see? SQL API clear. Good. Till now everything is perfect. What we need more? Let's do it programmatically. Let's do it programmatically using C#, using Visual Studio. You can do it also in .NET Framework, also in .NET Core. But because .NET Core have a nano system, it's smaller and is dedicated basically created for Azure and for cloud. I will use I will use .NET Core. Okay, will be a simple part. It's not made by me. It's a sample application. Took it from here because I don't want to recreate something. Will take a long time, a lot of time, just to write all code for nothing, and you will stay and this guy said that, this guy create a variable, this guy create another variable. No, not that. We are not in primary school, something like entry level to start to learn OOP and programming languages. That's why I'm going directly to show you the code, and there we can discuss directly in the code. Let's see. It's beautiful. We have here, bang! What we have here? We have let's close a little bit. Because first I want to show you the solution explorer, the structure. We have a solution named solution Cosmos getting started. We have Cosmos getting started as a project, and you can see it's with dependencies. So in this case, it's with what? .NET Core. We have here Microsoft Azure Cosmos dedicated for like some DLLs at the end, because at the end there are some DLLs, dynamic libraries, okay, who will be used, okay, and also Microsoft.NET, because it's some assembler, some compiling, and some dedicated like Microsoft.NET Core, Microsoft.NET Core Platform, and so on, So this is automatically created by scaffold, by Visual Studio when you create something. When you choose to have a .NET Core application, Visual Studio will create that for you, from template. Okay, good. So we have some properties. It's very easy to have a property. It's the same type of property with assembly. What is that? The number, version number, and so on. It's the same. It's not a different spot. Nothing different. Okay. We have application config. With application config, basically is just startup support for that. What is .NET Framework, .NET Core. In our case, it's also .NET Framework, also .NET Core. You can do it. You can do it with .NET Framework. You can do it with .NET Core. We can do a mixed. Depends. In my case, it's just a simple presentation, so I don't want to extrapolate. I don't want to go in a very complex way. Okay, so in this case we have family with some family. CS is not a class. CS.cs it's extension for C#. .vb it's extension for Visual Basic. So please, for people who don't understand that, or who for developers who are entry levels, don't say anymore. I heard a lot of developers saying, that's a class. Yes, that's a class in structure, there inside in code, but as a file it's C#. Okay, we have multiple classes here. I know people will start to say, probably some middle levels and senior levels will start to say now, best practices, Nick. Best practice is correct. Best practices, because it's not it's not like in best practices. I'm not following that, because I have multiple classes in just one file, and it's not accordingly with best practices, but it's something, Okay, so we have program. When you start with C#, program it's the best in town. In program you put what you want to do. Okay, why we have that? Because this, you will see, is like a model. We have some properties. Okay, look, we have some properties in our classes. Perfect. And here we have just a simple class with something in the class for running and do something with the data. Okay, let's go there. Let's close everything here. Okay, so let's see the code. The code is this. We have a namespace. It's this. Basically it's this. Okay, we have a namespace. We have a class family. Basically this family class will be in Cosmos DB, and we have also ID, last name, child, address, and so on, if it's registered or not, and so on. Basically, we'll have another class and another class, parent and child, who will be put inside of the family. Woo! Yeah, that relation? Yeah, will be that. So, basically, if you see some classes here, it's equivalent, in SQL, it's equivalent of a table, table family with some records here, some columns like ID, last name, parents, children, address, and if it's registered as no, it's the same. Can you see? If you check without Cosmos DB, just this part, you will see it's equivalent of what object relation mapper need to do. What? Entity framework do that. You do a class as a model, and we see, model is a class. You have a controller who do something with the class using entity framework going into a database, SQL database. So in our case, we will go using services or using direct. if it's inside of a service, you know, because if you have a microservice, that's a microservice. Actually, it's an architectural structure, you know, architectural part designing, using services, using something in back, using hubs, in buses, and so on. Okay, so in this case, we have these classes, and what we have something inside, you know, like some properties. Perfect. Till now MVC. Good. What we have here? Program. What we use? System, threading, configuration, collections, generic, .NET, and Azure Cosmos. Don't forget, if you don't have this, will be a big problem, you know. This using Microsoft.Azure.Cosmos. That's for Cosmos DB, okay? Taking from the DLL what's necessary classes and what's necessary abstract classes is what is there, and use it here to go directly, renewing directly to do something. Okay. Good. What we have here? We have class program. That class program is just a public class. No, it's just a class named program. Good. What we have inside? We have endpoint URI, you know, URI. Where is going? That web path to understand that. Where is going on? Where is going? Okay. So what we have endpoint URI. It's from services. If you know web services, you need to know about this part, because how you consume or you use something. If you don't have this, okay. It's from application settings and endpoint going there. The name, I don't know, it's just a simple part. Primary key for that, it's a private static read-only string primary key. It's not a number, it's not other type of value string. The same application settings from configuration manager, primary key. Okay, so what we have here, we have declared also Cosmos client, who's from Cosmos client. If we take a peek, you know, take a peek a little bit inside, we can see here it's metadata. It's already done and used, you know, by program. Cosmos client taking something from this interface named iDisposable. So we have a lot of things to use and to create the client and to use it to go in Cosmos DB. Okay, good. We have a database to be created. It's very easy to create a database. Database. This name of can be other one, but okay. So because it's best practices, it's good to be database, not with capital D, because in that case it's a class, you know. Because it's a class, let's take a peek a little bit inside. I love to take a peek inside a little bit. Look, it's metadata, and in metadata we have abstracts, tasks to do something for the create the database. Basically, you can use what's here in your database to do something. Good. Here is declaration part, okay, so don't worry. we didn't start to work very hard, just declaration part. We have a container who have all this. Take a peek inside, okay, and look, we have some tasks, you know. Basically, launch commands in cloud and say, hey guy, Cosmos, do that for me, do that for me, okay. So this is the for container, okay. Because we said you have database and containers in databases, you know. We can't have multiple databases in one container. No. Please, that's Docker. Into container have multiple things, multiple files. Here you have a database with multiple containers. Okay, good. And of course we have the identifier, and also the container will be created with the name DB, database ID DB, and container ID items. I don't like items anyway, because it will be items with items. So I will show you where. Okay, and we will start to have something. We'll start to have the main part, okay? Main part, try, console, showing on console, because will be this is a console part, it's not other type of interface, it's a simple console, you know, console application. So console, right, to begin operations, starting the program, and await, that's dedicated for cloud, await, or working with cloud, to say like that. Await P, who P is the program, I mean program get started, demo asynchronous, okay? And in case of something, have a catch, and that exception will be put in. Here, the status code of exception, and what is the type of exception, okay? And so on. Finally, because we really need to start that, even if it's an exception, put it there, or you can put it into a log file or stuff like that, you need to have a finally, I mean, you need to have something to start. And console write, end of demo, press and keys, you know, to do all that and to have a finish. You can't let like that. Oh, I have an error. I saw developers who said, oh, if I have an error, it's good. I let it like that. Don't let it like that, okay? It's better also here in that cases to go more complex than that and go in another class who will have error handlers, and there you can do a lot of other things, okay? Okay, so what we have here, let's start to have something. Entry point to call methods that operate in Azure Cosmos DB resources in this application itself. So basically here everything is started. Here is going. Basically here you can see we have something like await create database, and database will be created. Here we have await create container. Container is created. By the way, all the time create database first and containers after, because in other cases you'll have an error. Okay, scale container asynchronous. You know, if you want to scale to manually to scale what you saw already, I showed you. You know, you saw that already. I presented you already that part. You saw all that part manually. Add items containers. Okay, and I do a query or replace something, and of course at the end to be clean, delete family items. I mean, you know, family from that class, you know, okay, and also database, delete database. Basically, what this program will do now in this moment, will put data inside, will delete data and database. Clean, beautiful. Basically, you know that crude. Create, read, update, delete. Yeah, okay. Basically here, if we go a little bit like definitions, we can go down. Can you see first? We have here what to do. What? Database, and it's created, okay? On console as a text, I mean, as a result. And so on. Create container, it's here. Basically, after that we create a container. It's very easy. Await this database create container. If not exist, container ID, last name, and don't forget minimum is 400 in scale. You know, maximum is big. Or you can put auto if you want, automatic, so you can have that automatic and all that. The Cosmos DB to decide for you. But that's for entry levels. For DevOps who are entry levels, okay? Console red line, created container, and what is the container and ID of a container. It's to see also as an end user what's going on, you know. Scale the part, you can scale here all the container part, you know, going await this container read through input asynchronous, and so on, okay? Basically, we have also, can you see, that's task. What I said, task. Good. So we have another task here. For example, add items to containers asynchronous. And here is the beauty. It's very similar with ORM, Object Relation Mapper, like Entity Framework. You know, family, Anderson family, this will be inside of that, Anderson family, part of family, where family is that class when have ID, blah 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 blah, you know. Exactly, like in Entity Framework. ID, last name, parents, and by the way, we put class in class, so we put table in table. or we do a relation. Parents who have new parents first and second, and so on. Child, who is the name of the child is this Henriette, and gender is female, and so on, you know. So basically this is in family, and family is this, what we saw, and in this is parent with a Henriette and so on, and child with a name and everything, you know. Here, basically here you will do what you need to do, okay, and address and everything. Is registry is false, because you have also registered here in family, somewhere is registered, okay. So is registered is here, okay, as a boolean, yes, true, false, okay, good. So try again to read data. It's not so complicated to read data. Take a response from family, what exactly you want from that family, Anderson family, because you can have another one, you know. And basically here it's the command going to Cosmos DB. Await this container, read item asynchronously from family, from Anderson family. What will read? From Anderson family, we'll read the ID, we'll read the partition key with last name. This will be partition key. Basically, when create, like I create, you know, I created that and I put address slash zip code or something. Okay. In this case, partition key is family slash last name. Okay. Good. And in console, put for end user to see what's going on. Okay. In case of error, you just make a simple error handler. Create a family object for Wakefield family, another family, ID like Anderson. Family, Wakefield family. Can you see? It's the second one, Anderson family, the first one. So we have two in family, okay? With the same thing, child, what is that? The name, Miller, and so on. Here is two child, it's not parent and child, you know. So you can add data. Oh, good. Looks beautiful, this part, you know. It's very easy. You do what all the time when I did that, when appeared, object relation method like entity framework or hibernate in Java appeared, was beautiful for me as a software developer to use programming language, the same programming language, C# or VB.NET. Why? Because in other case you need to do select star, I mean all from DBO that something, or to execute a story procedure, or you know. So in this case it's better because you do that and everything is put it in SQL. And in this case, because the server was just await, go, task, do it, done, easy. That's cloud. Okay, so here we can do a query, a select from. You can do also direct in simple query language. Okay, and take the family and all families going while the family and go till the end one. You know, in our case it's just two. It's Anderson and another one. Okay, and here private asynchronous task replace family, put something else. And here delete family is very easy to delete. To delete as usual is very easy, you know. To do a bad thing is easy to delete. It's just var partition key value Wakefield in our case, and the family ID it's that, and it's deleted. It's just used from the database and delete that. Okay, and here you can see item family Wakefield family response, and again await this container, delete asynchronously, family ID, and what's going on in the family with partition key. That's the trick, you know, partition key and the part. So after that, delete database is very easy to delete the database. Database response, database resource response. So basically we have a response from the database, and again await. This is the part, the tricky part. This database delete asynchronous, and of course put in console, you know, because here it's asynchronously. There you can see in JSON. Okay, so this Cosmos client dispose. Done, closed, happy to do it. Okay, that's the trick here to do it. It's not so bad to do entire crude, you know, create, read, update, delete. Very easy using that part and go directly in Cosmos DB, and it's very nice because you can use all this here. Okay, so let's start Cosmos DB, and I will show you the result into look in this beginning operation is that part, you know, when we saw beginning operations and we'll start to do something. So beginning operations, creating DB has been creating, items has been created with standard 400, minimum 500. That's for this part here, from current to created items here. All this part is basically also very good for DevOps engineers, you know, because here you can see the database Henderson 1, Wakefield 7, so you can go very easy what's going on and where is the path. Okay, and here it's easy, read, ID, family and everything. You can see the family is null, first name Henriette, we saw that part. Put it, read it, and because has been select from where this is also filter. Okay, where last name is Anderson, so only that. Good. Here we have updated, you know, and here basically the database and container, the container and database is deleted. You know, when you create a database and container after. When you delete container and database after. Okay, it's very easy. Was a thing and done. Basically here we don't have nothing. Okay, why? Even if we do like this, we don't have nothing because we deleted. But if I will go here in program, just a second, because I don't like this. I like it, but not now. And I put this. Let's do a build, a quick build. Perfect. And run again. What I did here, I put comment to delete the database. So in this case, database will not be deleted. Beginning operations, created DB, items, the same, blah, 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 and not to delete database. In this case, better. Good, perfect. And let's do here. Look, database, our DB is here. Look, items. Here I said about items, need to put something else like families or whatever, you know. In my case, items, because why it create confuse? Everybody will be confused because it's items with items, you know. So that's why. So here you put another name, and here it's items. Okay, and I have Anderson and Wakefield. If we select Anderson, we have all data with all data put it in database in JSON. Can you see? And Wakefield in JSON. In this case, because I created and I didn't delete it, I will need to delete it by hand. I need to delete all this part by hand. Can be DB here, can be containers, can be direct. Don't care, need to be deleted. So in this case, delete container. This container is items. It can be one, I mean one container or more containers, okay? In my case, I think it's items. Good. And now, because we have an empty orphan database, official name for that, we need to delete the database. So database is DB. Done. Easy. Beautiful. This was all, folks, for today. I hope was not so hard to understand how to work with Cosmos DB. For developers, not very hard, and also for DevOps, DevOps engineer, it's not very hard to work and to do settings. And okay, all this you can take it and put in pipelines, doing different complex. You can do at the end something like settings in code as a DevOps, you know. So basically we have a code run script, all settings are applied very quick. and CLI, and so on. So this is it for today. I hope was a pleasure also for you, not just for me, to see all this. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nick. See you. Bye.